I'm Abigail.
And I'm Keith.
And you're listening to the Global Treasures Podcast. We'll cover different World Heritage sites each episode.
These sites have been identified as having outstanding universal value
because they have cultural and/or natural significance that is so exceptional that it transcends national boundaries and is of importance to present and future generations.
There are 1,199 sites in 168 different countries across the world, with more being added every single year.
We'll spend each episode exploring the history, legends, travel tips, and so much more.
Welcome to Season 2, where we'll explore the 45 sites that UNESCO added in 1979.
If you would like to support the show, you can subscribe at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. In this episode, Keith and I will be introducing you to Fasil Ghebbi, located in the Gondar region of Ethiopia.
Situated 450 miles north of Addis Ababa in Ethiopia's Amhara region lies the awe-inspiring Fasil Ghebbi, a 17th century fortress that once served as the home of the country's emperors. Perched 7,000 feet above sea level, atop lush grasses and surrounded by trees, this massive compound covers roughly 750,000 square feet and is enclosed within a 3,000-foot-long wall. Founded by Emperor Fasilides and referred to as the Camelot of Ethiopia, Fasil Ghebbi functioned as the center of government until about 1864. The word Ghebbi in Amharic means compound or enclosure, and this extraordinary complex contains 20 palaces, royal buildings, ornately decorated churches, monasteries, and unique public and private structures. At its heart stands the iconic castle of Emperor Fasilides, thought to be the oldest structure just inside the entrance gate. Towering 105 feet tall, with huge battlemented walls and towers, it resembles a medieval European fortress transported to Ethiopia. The castle's main floor hosted formal receptions and dining, with Star of David reliefs adorning the walls. One level up lies Fasilides' prayer room, offering 360-degree panoramic views, while the domed egg-shaped roof served as a site for religious ceremonies and leads to its nickname as the Egg Castle. From the second-floor bathroom, an unguarded watchtower overgrown with vines provides breathtaking vistas of the ancient city. The architectural influences at Fasil Ghebbi are diverse, blending Portuguese, Moorish, Aksumite, Hindu, Arab, and even Baroque elements brought by the Jesuit missionaries. Other remarkable structures include the Palace of Emperor Iyasi I to the northeast, renowned for its saddle-shaped vaulted ceilings and former adornments of Venetian glassware, mirrors, gold-plated ivory, and beautiful paintings. Though damaged by earthquakes and British bombing, it was once considered among Ethiopia's most majestic castles.
The House of Song Banquet Hall, built by Emperor Dawit III, hosted lavish ceremonies, while the two-story Palace of Empress Mentawab now serves as a site office and prime tourist destination. Religious influences abound as well, from the Asame Kiddus Mikael Church, built by Dawit, to the Debre Berhan Selassie Monastery, famed for its stunning interior murals depicting religious scenes. Another standout structure is the Quisquam Church and Monastery, meaning Light of the Trinity, and forgive my pronunciation. Built by Emperor Yasu I, it remains an active house of worship, renowned for its breathtaking interior murals. On the north wall, a depiction of the Holy Trinity soars above the crucifixion scene. The south wall features an ornate rendering of Saint Mary, while the western wall is adorned with images of major saints, most notably a striking portrayal of St. George clad in gold garments atop a white horse. Remarkably, Quisquam is the only church in Gondar that escaped damage from the Mahdist dervishes of Sudan when they attacked the city in 1888. According to legend, as the soldiers advanced on the church, they were deterred by a swarm of bees, forcing their withdrawal and leaving this magnificent sanctuary unscathed.
The fortress is ringed by 12 fortified gates that all have wonderful names and histories, while other antiquities like the ruins of Emperor Fasilides' bathing palace, pavilion, along the Kwaha River and the old Adabebe marketplace in the south offer glimpses into the daily lives of Gondar's royal inhabitants centuries ago.
Speaking of what life was like here centuries ago, I think it's time that we delve a bit into the fascinating history of this site. Let's start right before the founding of the city. For centuries, Ethiopian rulers led a nomadic lifestyle, moving their royal camps frequently and living off the land. However, a significant shift occurred during the reign of Emperor Fasil, who ascended to the throne in 1632 with the name Alam Sagad, meaning to whom the world bows. Breaking with tradition, Fasil settled in Gondar and declared it his permanent capital in 1636.
Just a quick note here, we're saying Fasil, short for Fasilides, and that's probably how we'll refer to it for the rest of the episode. Alright, so prior to Fasil's reign, his predecessor, Emperor Susanayos, had allowed Catholic missionaries to operate in Ethiopia, leading to a rise in the influence of the Roman Catholic Church and the Spanish. Fasil, however, initiated a closed-door policy, expelling the Jesuits and shutting his empire off from the rest of the world for over 2 centuries. He sought the aid of Muslim rulers from coastal states to prevent Europeans from entering and strengthen ties with the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which had most likely been weakened during the missionary period. Fasil also restored relations with the Patriarch of Alexandria and built numerous churches, including some of the earliest 44 in Gondar and the Cathedral Church of St. Mary of Zion at Aksum. It was during this time that Emperor Fasil ordered the construction of the imposing castle that would become the centerpiece of Fasil Ghebbi. Subsequent emperors followed suit, erecting their own structures within the expanding imperial compound. The buildings, crafted from brown basalt and adorned with wine-colored tuff, exuded a fortress-like appearance, often embellished by intricate paintings and beautifully illuminated manuscripts. The palace's grandeur was not lost on foreign visitors. In 1648, Yemeni ambassador Hassan ibn Ahmad al-Haman, he marveled at the castle, describing it as, and I quote, one of the marvelous of buildings, worthy of admiration, and the most beautiful of outstanding wonders, end quote. He attributed the design to an Indian architect named Abdul Karim. However, the royal chronicles credit an Ethiopian architect, Walda Georgis, with the construction of the castles of Johannes I and Ayasu I. The manual labor was primarily supplied by the Ethiopian Jewish Kala clan, who traditionally worked as masons, metalsmiths, and carpenters, despite these occupations being considered of low repute by the general population. So as the royal court developed from a camp into the fortified Fasil Ghebbi compound, it remained the heart of the Ethiopian government until 1864. An Armenian named Khoja Murad, who visited in 1696, remarked on the presence of at least 80 royal children who ran around indiscriminately within the palace walls.
Even after the empire's decline in the late 18th century, Gondar remained an important commercial and transport hub for northwest Ethiopia. However, the Italian occupation from 1936 to 1941 saw Fasil Ghebbi repurposed as the headquarters for the occupying forces, with some parts of the complex developed for use by officials. Though many buildings did not survive this period, those that remained were renovated by the Italians in the late 1930s, and after Ethiopia regained its independence. Unfortunately, many of the buildings were heavily damaged by a British bombing campaign in the 1940s. In the late 1950s, Thomas Pakenham visited Fasil Ghebbi and observed, "Dotted among the palaces are what remains of the pavilions and kiosks of the imperial city." Today, some monuments still serve their original spiritual functions, and the surrounding landscape holds deep significance for local peoples. Recognized for its immense historical and cultural value, Fasil Ghebbi was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1979, drawing tourists from around the globe to witness the legacy of Ethiopia's noble past.
Now that we've delved into the history of Fasil Ghebbi, let's explore a couple of intriguing and lesser-known facts that will make you feel like a true insider when visiting the site. So as you explore the grounds, you'll actually be struck by the meticulously manicured gardens and its intricate water channels that adorn the site, adding to its overall atmosphere. However, It's important to note that when you see all of this, that following the decline of the Ethiopian Empire, the whole compound was abandoned in the 18th century and actually fell into disrepair. It wasn't until the 20th century that restoration efforts breathed new life into this historical gem. Fasil Ghebbi also played a pivotal role in the coronation ceremonies of Ethiopian emperors. It's within these walls that rulers took the throne and solidified their power, making it a site of great political and cultural significance for the country Ethiopia. Now, I'm sure you're now ready to appreciate Fasil Ghebbi on a deeper level. You're probably thinking that, hey, this might be an adventure you'd like to experience. So to truly immerse yourself in the wonders of this ancient fortress, you got to go visit it. Abigail, this is your area of expertise. Based on our previous episodes on Ethiopia's UNESCO sites, sounds like there's a lot more to consider when traveling than normal. What advice have you got for us?
As always, if you're flying in from a different country or a different part of Ethiopia, you'll want to fly into Addis Ababa International Airport. Then take a short flight to Gondar Atsi Tewodros Airport. From there, you'll want to rent a car or get some sort of car service to reach your destination. So, trying to find out how to purchase tickets for this site is confusing because there doesn't seem to be an official website, and I saw varying prices. So, it appears you have to purchase on-site day of unless you book a tour. Also, tickets are only sold in Amharic, which is the official language. So, while English is the most spoken foreign language widely throughout the country, don't make the assumption staff will be able to speak it fluently or at all. You may be able to get guides at the entrance, and you will be heavily approached. They may try to swindle you or charge excessively, so please be careful. And I mentioned a tour before. You may want to consider getting a Gondar city tour that includes a visit to the site, and this way the guide will coordinate getting tickets and might even arrange transportation. This site gets about 12,000 visitors annually, so you don't need to expect you'll be fighting off massive crowds either way. Also, a tip regarding payment. The Ethiopian birr is the currency, and credit cards may not be widely accepted.
All good information to know and very expected considering our previous episodes in Ethiopia. So, anything you would recommend seeing in the area after your visit to Fasil Ghebbi? I know that there are a number of UNESCO sites that we've already covered in Season 1 and earlier in this particular season.
Yes, actually, 2 other UNESCO sites that we've covered. The first being Season 1, Episode 10, and that's Simeon National Park, which is only a 2-hour drive. Also, again, if you're already in Ethiopia, rock-hewn churches in Lalibela are a 6-hour drive, tough drive to the southeast. We covered these churches in Season 1, Episode 9. Since these sites are so difficult to get to, this may be a good opportunity to visit. So if you want to learn more, please go back and take a listen to both of those episodes. If you want to experience the Timkat Festival, you may want to consider going in January. This is a big religious event in Ethiopia that draws thousands of pilgrims. It celebrates the christening of Jesus Christ, and it includes food, songs, dancing, and symbolic recreations of baptism. This might be the one time you'll encounter large crowds. And during this time, the compound comes alive with ceremonies and spiritual significance. In terms of where to stay, there are a few lodges and hotels. Also, one travel tip that may seem random, keep in mind that this site sits at a high altitude. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water, and don't push yourself if you live near sea level. Your body may need time to adjust.
So, food. Were there restaurant options available in the area? Obviously not on the site, but kind of like surrounding areas?
It looks like the area has a couple restaurants. Ethiopia has a lot of very unique foods, but it's well known for the spicy meat stews, robust freshly roasted coffee of the highest quality, and tej, which is a honey wine that is often served at holidays.
Oh boy, that all sounds right up my alley. Okay, now I'm hungry to hear more about the legends surrounding the site that we haven't covered already. What did you uncover?
Well, you helped me out with this, so thank you. One of the most captivating mysteries surrounding Fasil Ghebbi is the reason behind its location. According to legend, it was prophesied that an Ethiopian capital would be built in a place whose name began with the letter G. This prediction led to the emergence of numerous towns across Ethiopia bearing G names, such as Gondar, Guzara, and Gogora, each vying to become the chosen capital. Another fascinating tale suggests that this site was handpicked by none other than God himself. The story goes that the emperor, Fasil, while on a hunting expedition, followed a buffalo to the very spot where the fortress now stands, as if guided by divine intervention.
That's interesting. I can see a whole bunch of people coming up with names that start with G just to try to get the emperor to settle there. All right, so let's wrap up this episode by covering issues or maybe wins surrounding the preservation of this site.
Of course. So unfortunately, in the 1930s, the wrong materials were used when attempting to restore and make repairs. They used cement and reinforced concrete, which damaged the authenticity of the original materials. This was partially reversed in the 1970s, with the original lime mortar being used. During the occupation of the Italians, from 1936 to 1941, they put plaster over many of the wall paintings in order to turn the buildings into administrative offices. Remember, part of the purpose of designating sites as World Heritage Sites is that there's an expectation within the restoration and maintenance plan and budget allocated that the original techniques and materials be used because that keeps up the physical authenticity of the place. Part of the issue with the lack of structure in the plan is that management of the property is done on multiple levels instead of being done by a single entity. Same goes with managing the budget, and when money is involved, we know things get complicated. So, day-to-day management is done at the local level by the Amhara National Regional State, but the monuments used for religious services fall under the jurisdiction of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. So it sounds like they may need to implement more clearly defined roles and responsibilities so they can better communicate and work together to keep this site up to snuff. All of that said, I want to end on a high note by pointing out that most of the monuments on the site are in good shape despite decay due to all that I've shared and natural elements like the weather.
That's great to hear. Fasil Ghebbi is truly a remarkable place, and I can't wait to visit and bundle it with all of the UNESCO sites in Ethiopia.
Thank you for listening to the Global Treasures podcast. You can check us out on YouTube and TikTok.
Thanks so much for joining us for another episode. And a quick word about us. Abigail and I truly believe what we're doing here to spread the word of these sites and can't wait to share each one of these with you every 2 weeks. If you also think this is important, please consider leaving us a 5-star written review with a message saying why. This helps others who may not even know about the UNESCO Program of World Heritage Sites find this podcast and learn of these amazing places. It also lets providers know that people find value in what we're doing here. So thank you. We really do know it takes time to write these, and we value each and every one that you've already written. We're so grateful to every one of our listeners who spread the word. So we can't wait to see you next time when we take you to some of the amazing sights of Ghana.